got, and the throat started to swell up heavily, to the point that he wasn't hardly able to breathe, and his friends, fellow monks and other people, they thought that he was going to die. It was very, very serious. So they have, in Pokhara, the Tibetan settlement in Pokhara, they knew that there was a so-called channeler or oracle, and his name was father or grandfather Wangchuk. And so they called him to help and intervene, and he did his thing and took, there is one way to heal people where you use a katak and you wrap it up in a certain manner, and then you suck the disease out or the bone or whatever it is, so that the spirit, or God entered into him, and with the katak sucked the bone out, and the bone came immediately out, completely, fully, no piece was left in the throat. It came out, and he immediately recovered. And this really happened. There is one monk here who is the same age of the monk Sotup. His name is Karma. He's one of the monks who do Kora all the time. And also Khenpo Mirti is a fellow companion of Sotup, so they are all in the same age, and they all know about the story.
Tene ngaso lombala mama ngaso chongchong kala meti yore di ta ngong lo khashi ngla chongdo ko khap chiksani khap trogo nanro tene ta khap trogo na lepson de pe chagira wa kasa kal chugonde tene iyon tamche ta yak ko wa ga zo shane no to chi ore tene na la ji ne ra wa tene look tene park 다 강세고 데림 파야 메바 지수 덴디 마지나 베차니 마다 각주 군득세도 덴디 깔라 라와 깨떠니 영 라위 인접자리 내가는 갑디 돈샤
비카프키란 중주레 라인벨로 중주
디 돈비 갑텔nga 끼어서 말고 파치 디 돈도 비깔라 땅가 끼어나면 덴디 지레션도 디시 디메딘도 미티미라 디 메모치 비히거 maso lomba manche hakor
tene kogi koa di kare gulgyo magya che tunne na
zupo toksin ge ona khap ge zung ro tene yon de ta zupo ko acha sem phang ro do tene de la soro chi jandani sor chi sha zupo chunin pa ya me ba chi tene hawa ga senjab ja ten ta ta to
And then there was another situation when Khenpo was a child. He was told the story. Everybody knew in Tibet, in his village and around, about that event, what happened. And it was that one man, he happened to swallow a needle. And the needle, well, it's very painful when you swallow a needle. It goes into your digestive system, and well, it sticks into the skin, and well, it was very painful. So that he put a big leather piece of leather around his torso and putting inside as much barley as he could, so that he would sit still, because with every single move he made, it would stick into his skin, into his flesh. And then they decided to call a channeler. They knew there was somebody that was doing that, so they called a channeler, and the channeler came, and he did the same thing, and he directly sucked out the needle from his belly.
돈칸가 라와티 디시요레 닌자뇨 디시nga 총총깔라 콘소시고레 세텔라와시디 메몽쇼 쩌그리 콩사밥데요 코랑이 닌자뇨 마 총총깔라.
And Khenpo says both of these individuals, the channeler as well as the man who swallowed the needle, I have both met them. They were very everybody knew them. It was a village, countryside in Tibet, and that channeler, he was very well known.
The Tendi Cheta Maore, Yenaya, Niti Shegoya, the Tekan City Ngasu Zukpo and the Mama Yendra Inari, La Inari, Consulta Dana, Ngasola no Davachi Mayimba. That Kaptu Drogoni, Capton on Chokoyore, Jambani, Denisor, then the record and shot on Tokyo. Then the thing on the Ngasu Zukbo, the Ngasola no, she only trapped the Yona, that it don't tell us Yomaro.
Why is Khenpo telling the story? He says, if our body was truly existent the way how we perceive it to be, then it would not be possible to extract anything just like that out of the body. It would not be possible. And other beings like gods or demigods, they have a different perception than humans do. They have a different perception in a different realm. So that's how a spirit or God can do that. And that also proves that the way how we perceive the body to be is not truly established in any way. Otherwise, it would not be possible to extract a bone or a needle like that.
The Ngasu Zukpo, the Ngasola no, Shinchik, don't move it on the trip that maybe that dancing Narang Semnona, that is what dancing Yakundu, which is Tranquil.
Khenpo says, I feel that this is for me a good proof that makes me realize that the body is not exactly existing the way how I perceive it to be, that it is not truly existent in the way how I think it is.
Karo magic naloni, then it don't tell you money. That don't tumkang Karina, cool nalo like Zogayore, call a chick that Peshatung, thing as on Tongumendo. The Kola Karishuk the Yotingasun Tongumado. The Najan Ching on the class etiso, Nasun Tong to get you Mayamba, Yarwas etiso, Nasun Tong to get you Mayamba, so Lee Aposana, lie injecting Korangan Tong to get. So Lee Nambasana, Yarwin injecting the Korangan Tong to get you. So League now talk to one that the Sanji Kala Yore, Chixamla Cassetana, that in some other somebody watching. Some not done Higmar, drift Tokumari. That on Higmar, some not done Savare, some not done. Oh, that is what in some area, somebody such a drift which remendo.
Ali in Samare, Karin.
And you then see a teacher so not some in some area saying, I soon did when in Saris and it drift to the Medoa. Nasola Candace, Dimbar into somebody such a. That is what the machine drinking to count. I can time just so not chat some imba. Thank you for your give up such a what is a pen and as a man that our fat is so and you think come give it. And a young Ducha laying about other Sakadana, so Lenala, Shanatsa, Kangan Chaya. Then it's so Lenara.
And a tango de la Kiran Remiki to Pimares, Rosso Copan and
Oh, dear. Perna, then the Likache Tungan co Medire Homarwa. Kusan and Zosha what the Tobredor, the college shook the Euro, Titobro, Tito in a thing as was.
We can.
They could drain a carina, I think as was. They know as in Chidi, Chigas Lada, Nerva, met the pass of chicken tongo in summer. Chechana Laga, as on Tongo, your secretary Martosha.
And therefore each realm has their own way of perceiving things, and a human being, for example, would not have the capacity, the ability to suck a needle or a bone out of another human being. And in fact, when these channelers or healers operate, then it is a spirit or a god that is working through them. It is not the human being that is doing that. It is the force of that entity. And we do not have the ability to see that entity. And in the same way, other realms cannot see, or we cannot see the hell realms, we cannot see the God realms, and they cannot see us. We cannot be 100% sure. Perhaps the gods do have the ability to see humans, and every realm therefore has their own way of perception, of manifesting appearances based on their own karma. So if you have a very good karma, and you might be reborn in a realm of gods, and then you see the world through the eyes of a god. If you are reborn out of other negative karma in the hell realms, then you see the world of the hell realm. And this is something that the Buddha has himself stated many times. Did you sang kisung parwata nyelwe sijikting thong dirwa?
Yeah. What and is in Kaukala Chinguni Sosu Ichida Wakini Chiksano down the Shena Rawachi Lamsang no one in journey Marala Yarvi no one was herni. Tendis was Chandro secret that somebody Shena young couple Tendi Yungudo.
Yine mi yine lamsang kandes legere.
So now what's I mean this shit out the knee.
Alidi Hamako Tangi Labet Tilatene, Tenyelwa Lamato, Yellow Jikten Chargi Marwa. Nyelwa yina, Nyelwa Jikten, Yelwa
Corona Nagara. You know, hope to Gangala, Nga Shandu Tandata, you know, come back to drop way up on the demo when yam that is not. Hope to Chilachi. She not so what you can now as Harney, yeah. That is so the government. Yeah, then it's Nasu Ta Pena Machigla Tuguma. Yana such a chilla lived to you. Then Yana Lord Gichi Sart Koya. Tendre Sanyan Dawala Tendrichi Yonkoyona, Torgon Dawala, Tendawa Chige, Malam Taindawa. Ngala Naso Tamsin Lati Yojere, Perna, Torgon Gondandawa Chigla, Perna Takibito in the Riching Malam Tang. Then it teaching and Della, Yana Kibi Logishia Tawach. Yana giving the part Toyando. Yana giving the window, Tentin Toyando. Yan Tega Nasha Chick Dropochig Melamon was done. Chenya, hope to get the Dropotel Tugnoya. Tende Kahichi Yongo, the Chenanso Tendi Yojere something.
And another example is that sometimes Khenpo believes that all of you have had those experiences. It happens that before something happens, we dream about it. Maybe we dream about, coming to Kibi, meeting somebody in Kibi, having a certain experience in Kibi, hearing about the history of Kibi. Or we dream about going some other place, or we dream about hearing a certain situation or story, and then the next day that thing happens.
Pena ta gondola nga ta consider chik dropo chikla thuya ga malam ta ta sani nga tel thukre ne semna la Kun Toya de Narati Pena Dari Chigla, Kola Tuna, Dari Chilla, Kaptu Tundra de Marto, de Gonda, Pena Dari Nila Tuna, Dari Chigla, Musa Gangala, Tati Kanya Yondan Mevado Radio. Nasus Amsarina Consider Sanya Kotu Yonga Yobi, Marti Chingala lived in your money. Mune so Mason Jictin Banamcos similar Tramba Naja Yena. Mason Jictin Banam consider Naranta and took Tonson. Napan Rosa, Cotella Levision, and took some say, Jenny Levaching Marto. Dang Gonda, Ngay Sam Canala, 2 Yongachi, Yongala, the Nasuna, Java to which in Mena was trying to go up as a teacher. Yena, ya, that Yam Young got Tani, Ngay over the man hung holla, not the nausea, take Melam Time. Dear, that Chatham Lavjana Yasaro, dear Congress said, Nalo na. Nalo ko pakchachik sani, sem ko tanga pakchachik sani, chalo ko zuk ndison tonko yuwadi, besarwa charogar. Sem ko nala pakchak sadru chiyonde, koti nawadi le. Da pakchak di ngus sayati sanyan sakirwa, sanyan tongirwa, ina di gonda tela, dani malam la, di tangyong kyo. Da di pakchak sadru chiyonde, yinba tang, nga su, jik tong doge andaso, pakchak sabi dogun tong yongre siye di, Parta Yashu, they chakanduk Jankayo.
Nangma di Pakchala Tene Jungyo.
Temanati Gonda Karis in Malam Town. Jumsan Jambach Mandua. Malam Manatown. Together Jane took you.
So, for example, you might dream that you meet somebody tomorrow, a friend or someone, and then that really happens. Normally, we always believe that, you know, what happens tomorrow just manifests tomorrow, just like that. It is not here in the present. And so therefore, like if I meet a friend tomorrow, it is not that I'm meeting the friend today, but it happens tomorrow. So the event is in the tomorrow and not in the today. And yet, what happens is that we can dream about something tonight that we don't know it will happen tomorrow, and then that very thing happens tomorrow. Khenpo says, for me, this is a very good proof that form, whatever we perceive as form, things that we see, come from imprints. I think that is very clear with such an example. Because the imprint is already here today. The imprint then manifests in my dream. Sometimes that happens. An imprint then manifests in the dream, and the next day, then it manifests as a form. And I think Khenpo says that's really a wonderful example for how all appearances actually depend from imprints, that they are coming from imprints. Khenpo says, I think this is a very good example, that with the dream, when we dream something before it actually happens, and otherwise, how could we explain that?
Chiranso ina te naje, ale ngati manam dango manam tangate, and there and do a sambado which Kaukala, Zunian Rawan Toya, Pardon Rawan Toya Yana, Mangusutuya Yana, the Lord Gishabado. Did
you actually have this experience ever, that you dreamt about something before it happened? Yeah, whether it was meeting someone, hearing something about a certain situation. That seems to be a quite important point, yeah? To think about.
Jik Sanrik Badawo, Tendri Chiyan, Takhir Dawochi, Karichini Tambo Tendri Sharon Sedi, Hakoyazi, Reja Mandu, Dingumati Cortes Kashakatu, Inanti, Suchik Shayaji, Mevachi Reshan.
Scientists have apparently tried to investigate this phenomenon for some when, and yet they did not come up with any answer. Nobody of them could really tell what's happening there.
That the Chigansun Ton to get this so Nalo Pacha Chigda, Gomshi Chigda, and really talk with so Hardavachik. They lead on journey, Lee Huchina, Kipoto, Yedo Haya, so like Kipoya, Yedo Haya. She Lee Mergeva Top Young, Pachoni Yedamawachikaya, so like Young and Chaya. Tangasu number Sanji be Tenjong say de Tendri check it on Gunzangi. Tendri some monch down at the toll and never rendua Sambajo Yonya Revadua.
Kare yonya rewadu.
Tamche Tendri Nawa some Yemba lay down so give it over Yapo.
Yapo yong.
Margate with those Tendita can't young so la Tendri talk no on the Yembachi Insareda, somebody Tandi Tendi Samotana, then it's so daisy. Ichi lever was young to us.
The Gewa Drubiara Iche.
Mari. Mazun injecting and tongue together so Tendri talk John Insare somebody. Oh.
Therefore, things that arise out of our imprints, out of habituation, and then if we have good karma, then those appearances will be pleasant ones. They will be causes for pleasant feelings, for joy and so forth. And if there is non-virtuous karma, then those appearances will manifest as something unpleasant, maybe as a situation that causes us difficulties or struggle. So this is something that the Buddha then coined dependent arising. And that can give us really some trust into the fact that everything arises out of, everything is appearance that arises out of imprints, karma and habituation.
Tende chingodi ta pena ngasu injik teng kamde yenare pena tanda kibiga lawanda wonde chi yenare ngasu de chi din thong du ko yore yena sanji tomba sanji zig dana khonso la tende chi nakandu khonso la tende chi harndu goya phache neluk tende rawo chi insare samsam chi rendwa
Takoma songkare.
Sanji chomden di sigdana ji la de ri chi da nga so man de ri chi chi pha thong do gen de so console de ri chi 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 na do samba no sanji ge sigdana de so nga so la na da ba chi nga so la na da nga so la pen ki bi la de nga ran so la na da yo chi gim ba sanji rang ge sigdana khona rang ga na ma yim ba I keep in on the dead you met the soul and then reaching on to our going at watch. Young Asu Pasha, young Asu Kanisha did up the order as you are. Nearby Semchen Tesola, just saw that in Coranson and not that you are yes, somebody. No tender Tamche Chuyinsa Tamche, Takas, when you think chewing the so kind. Sanji is done around regularly no chick. Oh, 26 Kiowa.
And then the Buddha has that capacity to perceive how the various realms are perceived in different ways by the different beings based on the different karmic imprints. So for example, you can see, human beings now they perceive this as being the temple of Kibi and them sitting there. And then he looks into the hell realms and he sees, here sentient beings experience the floor or the ground as being molten iron and so on.
Chidang yang dari chi yor, ta te shin adik sare. Nyarbi semchen te so la, chu ma cha nyarbi semchen ta kan so. Nyarbi lim khan se ni lika chen kan raw. Tende ge she ya, dong ya, song ka tsaw ya. Tende ge nang la khar ya te so kab la te so semchen mare song do.
Semchen mare.
Te chen kan te so. Kon se de so so la khar ne semchen chi ge que tendrí pe kanga track de yo to sing thong to ge ma to ngone te so yang semchen ra ma re se te so nyang tu devi na na yang song ge yor na
ta gyuma re ta gyum konsul ngoi su thong
yor so so len nang to ko semchen chi khar
semchen chi khar di sangye gi sung pare line be sangye gi sung pare line be
dor devi pe na nyang tu devi na lo na tendrí song ge yor.
And in the Shravakayana teachings, they also say that in the hells, sentient beings who are suffering, then they perceive themselves as being, killed and sliced and tortured and beaten up by other sentient beings, by somebody who beats them and tortures them and so on. And it is said in those Shravakayana scriptures that actually there are no other sentient beings in the hells that are actually torturing someone. Yet the hell beings, they do perceive as if there were other beings who are torturing them. And in the Mahayana, that's reiterated. So of course, they say that is a mere perception by the hell beings.
Tende kaukalayan tende samlando chitawande ngasu phasa chig zuk tin thong to yore ta te ya mkhila na jenda phase yondo ko re mado tene chig semche yen pha ngai majamba jin thong da ko semche re se ya ga ngi tak cha ma hi wa cha ro do ko la sem yomen tande nyarwi linkan do yena ko la sem mado ngana chitani jin thong do ko re shyoyong ko re sheno chawo yore na ko la sem mado ta ngaso me phasa thong ka la ta ngone ya phasa ji sem yo da me de sosu ta ya ma to ngaso phata ko na ka le khas yo so ra chi do
Yeah, and then sometimes we might reflect, now we look at each other and we are so convinced, there is another human being I'm talking to. I am meeting, having coffee with someone else, with another body, with another form. Well, for sure, by now we might doubt that maybe it is not exactly how my eye consciousness perceives it to be. And now we have heard that also for the hell beings, it is possible that you perceive another sentient being to be there, while this sentient being that you perceive actually is not a sentient being. It does not have a mind. And therefore, who knows, with whom we are actually meeting? Are they real? It makes us wonder, Is there actually someone with me here?
Tende ching de chapar mandu ta tonda la ngasu tende kese do sheni gong chakre se de ta ngasu la ching nawa na jin chaso demba rang tende dawo chi yin samare da samba ge ta yichi kina da yashu garte man tesum cham kina yo de
All of this to say what? To say that perhaps the way how we perceive appearances is not exactly the truth. And if we can trust in that, then that's very good. And if we doubt that, then that perhaps is also very good. The doubt itself is a good thing that will turn into something good, most likely.
Ta ngaso ching nawa na shin yoba ti pha ka sha ba de la tomba la ko yor nawa na shin trip da ba ti pha ka sha ba de tomba la ko yor tene ngaso la nawa na shin ma dra ba chi shar da ba de la tenjong la ko yor tender la ko tende yon de nat ko wa chi kwa tender senaya tomba senaya tender
nangshin madrupa dik tender re
nangshin madrupa te la tene tomba nyes
kakpa de la tomba
tere nangshin trapa kakpa nangshin trapa kak sha de gari tongkore se nangshin trapa tongkore se Then, Takan Chakar said, no one knows a Jokumar said, Danger.
Tini chikpa chama so.
That's what so no one knows a Madra Patella, Danger.
Tadangudi lapshana. So then when we use the word empty or emptiness, then empty of what? It is the negation that what is empty is the negation of appearances to be truly established the way they appear. So negating that phenomena, that appearances truly exist the way they appear, that refers to emptiness. So phenomena or appearances are empty of what? Of being truly established, truly existent the way they appear. So they are empty of being truly existent the way they appear. And then dependent arising refers to that very not being, appearances not being established as they appear. So appearances are not established the way they appear, and that is referred to as dependent arising.
Tombanye seti, Tenjong seti, Kichimbo imbichani, Lopa Ayadewi, Omajigawi Nalona, Sonum Chong Chong Yankantesu, Tombanye dan Tenjong sendesu, Two Mares, Tesum Savian, Getakumares, Garte, I departure, then in Sareda, Sambando, Tesum some Kinayan, then Supershaw Shipping Gerseni, Corvi Nila, Leda Yomongo Tobji, Gigo at his Pagnon and Joya, and to lot again, to lot the Ras on Adam, Jus on Attendichana, Young Meva Chichardo, sure was in a delaki or Trollare song. Then Corvi need is a Leone on the Geag, Nevatas of Yamdroya, Tarvala Tanya, attended Chakares on it, Nobayan Dewi. She gave on the song, they on Sanji Galatini, Son Shabachireshano.
Anitanda Tombanitan Tendrunika Chipa in Batangi Labio Maritatu.
Ah, think how come a song, let's say.
Dilabgorata Chipare Labgorata, Tongi Tang Tendrin Chipa.
Did you love Mara? They love Tenijin Lamnix.
Okay. So actually, the both terms, emptiness and dependent arising, they are in a way synonyms, referring to the same meaning. And they are very, very important. These notions of emptiness and dependent arising are extremely important. The Master Aryadeva, author of the 400 verses, said that those of us who have little merit don't doubt these teachings. And if you happen to doubt then with, oh, maybe it is so, maybe that could be true, then be sure that that little doubt itself is very positive, that you can really trust that this is going to reduce the karma and afflictions that keep you stuck in samsara, that keep you wandering around in samsara.
Oh, thank Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, Chaperman. That day, and sugar, and also Savahiro and Choju Corte and Dore.
And now, if we come back to the text, we have looked at the homage so far.
Tati Kaptela, the Naranga Kan Shitsu Gutani, Then Jig Chanchum Chod that tap Kachani Chanchum Chod same Gayaga, same Gay Gilla Gayaga, Tashi Gantaranda was checked down. Here Gachani, Tomba down Tenjong, say Gova de Jigita, left Taviaga, Tashi Gantarada was checked. That she could do was a great. Tangaranga, she said over there. Can't she do what she you? Tapkashoni, she used
and therefore, Khenpo says, I have tried so far to bring together and explain both crucial elements for the path, to summarize them, which are the aspect of skillful means, the generation of bodhicitta, the heart of awakening for the benefit of all beings, so that we may bring this forth generated as much as we can and train in that as much as we can, and then the other aspect being the aspect of wisdom, the aspect of emptiness and dependent arising.
Dinani, Bena Jancha with Simra Wayana, Soso Ranga Samnotani, Ranli, Jan Kichea Zaya. That Janla Susunguni Janla Pen Gantoto Chego Samba. Di Yola Senare, Chakin La, Naran Yargetani. Yargigan Tartu de Sanji Goma Gosare, Samba Gono de Naso Ranga, Susu Zoya Remarto, then a chick hope to Jank, now Yonatan, chicks on the top Yon say, the Yomari, Susu Rank somewhat on the Jankuri.
Bodhicitta is something that really is a process of self-reflection, where you continuously train yourself in considering others and taking others' benefit more important than yourself. And the cause for then really being of benefit to others lies in us progressing and developing, growing further and further our capacities to really be of benefit to others, until we become ourselves Buddhas, which is of course the highest container for benefiting others, the best, most skillful way of how we can benefit others truly. This is something that we ourselves have to do. It is not so that we go somewhere and we will receive it, this capacity. It is really something that will come from ourselves through our own practice and our own reflections.
Tela, the manga share Janla Tinere, manga. No, on the rich in a same the rich again over the rich in a some London younger say, the Janla she Lojon Chini Lengo, Marto Tamos, Chasan Hiro, Yomaro. On Tere, Tene, dear Hako Sari Jela, that Sosu Semla in Gervatan, the Soso Rank Chegoro.
In the first steps, of course, we need to rely on outer sources. We really need to get the teachings, the instructions for how we can work on this, how we can grow bodhicitta. And then once we have learned those skills, the techniques, and have had the pith instructions on that, then the transformation of the mind towards that direction lies really in our own hands.
So Samlaya Hotani, Moni Semchan Tamjik Donding Sanji Goma Drugos are rare, Sambi Konote, Levi on Digger. Then Chanchuk Semku Domba Sieti, then give it Tamba. Konambi Kundani, Jank Kundani Share. Domba de Jank Kundani Share.
Once we have progressed and we have generated the motivation of bodhicitta to some extent in ourselves. And that point, then again, we rely on someone. We rely on somebody who then can give us the vows of a bodhisattva. So for that, then we need the support again of the teachers who can give us the bodhisattva vows.
다 창조그 셈고 돈바 시위 까블라 오늘 고아데 강레 세디가 등에 셈chen 양기 돈도 상지지 고마 적그 양 삼바 땡아랑라 요차위 제라 땅이 제마데 대가라 제그 연 세네 답에나 정 karma 라마자 첨보식 뻥올라 샤니다 다네 걔는 꿈도 능이 킬랑이야 대가랑이 냠는 제그 연 세네 돈바세데 데레
What are the bodhisattva vows? The bodhisattva vows are when we commit in front of somebody who is testimony for our commitment, our vow, such as His Holiness the Karmapa, that I will accomplish the benefit of all beings. For their sake, I will reach enlightenment, and I will do everything to put that into practice.
다 된디가 장첩 셈 소수 장 장첩 셈고 돈바시 되네 동바당 땡종 세데 곰잡나 땅아서 상지 고마란 조야가 카상하마증이 자식이나 쇼판이세야 시야데 나니 히럽세데 디 동바당 땡종 곰자가데 히럽데 데레
So on the one side, there is this training in bodhicitta, the request of the bodhisattva vows, and then on the other hand, we have heard these two wings of a bird, this example. So on the one hand side, we have bodhicitta, the one wing of bodhicitta and the bodhisattva vows, and then on the other hand side, we have the wing of the practice of wisdom, which are the meditations and contemplations on emptiness, on dependent arising. And these two wings of the bird are necessary then to go to Buddhahood, to reach full awakening.
다 데이터위 탑단 히르 캬버전 땡이 배차 강나는 조송거 요르세디가 히르데 조 자와 히르나나 송거 요르 장체고 셈데 조 장체 전주고 나나 송거 요르 데네 오만죽비 까블라 니가 손던데니 송거 요르 데네 예노데 페나 달루 롭천라고 세나레 ndi korsan di kaula jawa karma vi kumdanne chanchu chonjuk chemu thok yore tani tam mixer ga jawa karma vi son sengo de chenlab chembo tendi chediga soso ya mixer ga karwa song ji cha da yore ta here dan tabhi sonjuk se de zawa here dan oman ju binan ep yore de ngasu tanda lotsan la yore ta chi 강시시라고 자바히로라고 해나 나랑은 제가 강시시라고 자바히로 존다 조요마데 이나 난가 체휴데 동바데 땡종세인데 소리 디 따지 롭세지 시요레 이나다 영혼 karma son나징아 신럽다 된리다자 요마로 karma son나징이 신럽다 된리자 요마로 다 이나 저거데 라비아데라 따야로 라비아데 소수 냠는 제 요담에 고야 요담에 어디 기치 뭐라 신라메나야 또 고야 독서는 걸
And when we take these two essential elements, skillful means and wisdom, then we can connect them to two texts that are so-called the essential fundamental texts that that elaborate on these two topics. So for wisdom, we have the work by Nāgārjuna, the root verses that explain the wing of wisdom. And then we have this wing of bodhicitta, which is then explained in Shantideva's Bodhicharya Avatara. And then there is the Madhyamaka Avatara, which is a work that unites both wings. And at present, in this very course, we do actually learn about all of these three topics and texts. His Holiness is giving us teachings on Shantideva, and not only is he teaching Shantideva, in his words, in his presence lies itself a lot of blessing. So we are so lucky and very fortunate to receive those teachings. And then we also have as a study subject the Madhyamaka Avatara by Chandrakirti, and then also we have as a subject the root verses. Khenpo says, although we cannot go very much through the text itself, he says, I really try to point out the key elements for all of us, which are then the topics of emptiness and dependent arising. He says, I try my best to really point out the essentials. I do not have the capacity to bring much blessing into that, yet for me it is really important that you see what of all of this is practical and applicable for you, what does carry meaning for each one of you. So let's forget about the blessing. Look what is in there for me, what can I apply, what is helpful for me.
Yeah. Tatani Levatangoni Dali Mayan, Janli Me, Nili Mayan, Gimem, who Kanta Kanaya, Kivana, Yomayan, City, Dortenre. They chidan Leo Tamche, Gata Dortenro, which Charo.
Lukam Tamchiki Dorten.
Choloka Chigdo.
Ta Dorten dire, yeah. Ta Dilapshana.
Dali Mayans. Die Onima Upo Kanda City, Pena, the Zugdrala Sobatici. Kana Yang City. Then Chochig like Egmari say a Mayamba. Kana Yang, Chokana Yang Egmaris.
Tisqua pitching a Tangbu Dilapshana.
Oh, Upo Kanda Kana Yang Kiva now you man says you are the Chasana Jariare. Darling Upo Kanda. Oh. That you can get saying Dali Kiva Yomars, Chokanda Yang Kiva Yomares.
Maritanda Karasa.
Upanam Dali.
Muibu Kanda Kanayanta, Muibu Zugdra
Zudrala Soba Teda. Dali Ki said the Koran Niki Yomashi Yomares.
Koran.
Nick of Tichi.
Take a teacher. So then if we look at verse number 1, I will read it once in English. This is the summary in a sense of the whole work. It says, not from itself, not from another, not from both, nor without cause. Never in any way is there any existing thing that has arisen. So Khenpo starts speaking about the last line. So never ever is there any existing thing that has arisen. Which existing things are we talking about here? We are talking about, form, sound, and so on. And never has anything arisen from itself. That's the first point that is mentioned here. Which means none of these things, forms or sounds, have not arisen out of themselves.
Tatikola Daliki Sinkanga Tani Chiravayore Konsu Pena Zugzuli Kijar Seado to Dendi Kaptuku Laki or Mare Suk Yenare, Tachi Consu Pig down the Shayona Perna Marta or the short of Siena, De Ranga Dagnechik, Omagana Yores, Coteli Ki on Resi, Ranga Dagneli Ki on Resi, or Tende Song Conshaki or Tanding Asu di Kala, Te Omare Song Yore.
For example, there are other.
They love you.
There are non-Buddhist schools who assert that phenomena arise out of themselves. So, for example, if you take butter or curd, that butter and curd come out of milk. So they say that the butter or the curd, they do already exist within the milk. And here Nāgārjuna is saying that's not the case. They do not arise. There's nothing that arises out of itself. He negates that.
Tatani Nili Mayan said the Yame Man said the Nilan Shishaki. Nili Mayan sinking technical show. Nili Mayan said the young Cherubinano La Pena Sama Chige, Pumba Chisujana, the Samali Pumbaki, the Dalikires, Korang Daniels, Sama the Tamani, Pumba Daniels. Yena ta Toa Tang, Garatang, Tiso Janchires, Delikires, Cod Dalian Kires, Janian Kires, and Kanchiore. Tayan Nasu Temare Song.
And then also Nāgārjuna negates that phenomena arise from both, from self or another. And there are non-Buddhist schools that say that this is how phenomena appear. So, for example, if you have a copper vase, then the fact that the vase comes out of the copper is an arising out of itself. And then in the process, you also need a hammer, a hand, and maybe other things to make that vase. So this is also, the vase then also comes from another. And here Nāgārjuna says that is also not true. That is also not the case.
Tayan Cheraba Kahijega Tamchela Joyo Maris, Pena Samataso Dumbo Richi Yambata, Cermataso Numbo Yaba Suzogaris, Joyo Mar Koran Oil Chonore, and Kanchior. One thing as Yume Mayan said it.
And then there are other non-Buddhist schools who say that phenomena do not have a cause. They arise without a cause. For example, then they say, the fact that peas or lentils have a round shape, that has no cause in particular. There is actually no cause at all for that. Or the fact that thorns are sharp at the top. There is no cause for that. And Nāgārjuna again says that is also not true, that things arise without a cause.
Tangi Moati Molam de Tonshaki, Tani Gerkunguni, Tandachik Travatrago, Sankan Kahiona, Sosoya, Tes Chi Trinantakirawa.
Chila Kadu.
Tandan de Ron. Tandan de Ron, huh?
And then tomorrow we will talk about the last point, which is arising out of another. Oh, sorry, not tomorrow, day after tomorrow. And then now Khenpo will make the dedication, and then if there are some questions still lingering, then we will end the class here, and you can come here or to the side then to ask, so that everyone else can go. Okay, so we will stay here for a couple of questions afterwards, and those of you who want to go for lunch or have to go for lunch after the dedication, feel free to leave, yeah?
Chancha Sina Rumbo Jama Bana Kiba Nyamba Meba Don Kuni Kundan Peyo Tonye Tawa Rumbo Jama ge ba na ge ye ge ba nyam ba me ba kon ne kon de pe sho. 저 당차 그만둬.
이래다. 지금 남는 가게 모르겠어. Ah, okay, sorry. I think we have a microphone. For everybody, I thought everybody's leaving. Maybe not everybody's leaving. Those of you who are staying can listen to the question and answers, and yeah, we will do it with the microphone.
I wanted to ask about the monastic practice of debate and possibly the experience of attempting to train in emptiness. Is the practice of debate in monastic practice useful for perceiving emptiness?
Re so samna tan te karichin yen res de la ten yen res te karichin ha ko se de la ten ha ko res ya jumsen zo jang yo ro den de chen on de rpa te sin zo ro so rpa ya gen ro la pe pen.
The practice of debate really aims at sharpening one's ability for reasoning and logic. So this is because of that. That is because of this, and so on and so forth, back and forth. And of course, sharpening one's capacity to, for reasoning and logical arguments is of course very helpful.
And you can clean your glasses.
Die mix, Karinche, die mixe sangma so ya kichi sare ani morang kinang. Ada tempa matru penang dire.
Okay, thank you.
That is for you that thank you. What is your name?
Yulika. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
That's very
Ngi
kind.
mo khirte shira tsama mando.
Khenpo says thank you, his glasses are very dirty, so that's very helpful, thank you.
Dear Khenpo, thank you very much for your teachings. Excuse me for a very stupid question. This question arising in my mind. So speaking about the needle or the chicken bone, when the body is not truly existing and the needle and the chicken bone are not truly existing, how can they create so much pain or maybe even cause death? Why must we take them out? Or if we do we not try to avoid a karma which would ripen on a later date?
Tanda kadungi korang kondas ngetiwa peje kupain so konda. Tanda ngatso demba madrupa ina roa mi tang karina nangwa de zorwa. Tene ngatso te ruko cha de ruko tang kap de so yang demba madrupa roa. Te karije ne teng gogi ore supu nangne. Jidengi demba madrupa ina tene karije ne tadung zup kya ngatso shi chuya ki nupa yore demba madrupa ina.
Ta sugyaya ya demba madrupa che tene shaya ya demba madrupa che yana chasan demba madrupa jikpa ro chakyo.
You know,
Yana ya demba madrupa yana no nanga yorda. No ya te ka thokyo ma.
nangwa kak tu gima.
No nanga dor. Der tu nanga yore kangan nanga yore. No ati yore. Churni leore yana ko churni tene dewa nyonga yore dunga nyonga yore.
Well, you know, the pain and the dying, they are also not truly established, not truly existent. And at the same time, that doesn't mean that we do not experience things. We still experience hardship, pain, joy. It is the experience, although that experience is not truly established, it still is something that we experience. Although it is diluted, although it is not truly existent, it is an appearance.
ngaso cherung korwa thoma mebane nam tokla komdoro yore sambate komdo bito kre teni ngone ta mama bana nam tokse te pha che ka thunyen che ge kiwani kiwa pha jani teni jona teni ngone ta naya chaya te ta ngone re mando wa samaro jeni hakoya ro re do
You know, out of our mental activity, concepts and thoughts, mental constructs, that's how we experience suffering and joy. And we have become so used and familiarized ourselves with these ways of perceiving things that we think they are very real and very true. And once, at some point, through training, at some point, one might be able to stop these mental constructs and concepts and thoughts, and then one might understand that this pain or this suffering are not something that's truly existing. Yeah.
Here, I have to adjust the volume. Dear Khenpo, you pointed out to question our perceptions and the appearances we perceive, including other beings. And we heard a lot from His Holiness how wishes for others in the end only help us on the way and benefit in the end ourselves. So I'm wondering, am I the only one in the room? And is there, you pointed out that we should doubt it and question it, but is there a statement from Buddha itself or from someone else about it?
About what exactly?
About if we are alone.
Semchin shempa zuyu metian tesum rabu chire sro ani dindi indu tandangi ani kunungi mangbu kare sungso senata ngatsu shentun la mönlam gap girwa mönlam dezu ngoma chena tartuk la ngatsu la pengire ma to shempa la peng mixer chi kechi pengi mares sungsong tene nga tanda tesum sa yo peje nga kangba din nga chikpo rang sare tesum leb kidu sro ani di korla Pecha nangla shempa chik sungken din de shempa chung yorbes shempa shig yorbe di kola chika yusuf. So your question is like, do in other texts or did the Buddha say more about this? Sangi ki di kola shempa chik kare sung yorbe.
Ah.
It's like I'm not sure if I got your question. Sorry. Did the Buddha speak about, like, am I alone in the room? This is what I got from you.
No, he pointed out that we should doubt everything we perceive,
yes,
including every other being, because in hell it works the same way. They perceive the torturers as beings, but they are not really there.
Okay.
And then he said we should question our perception of other beings here.
Of other beings.
Right now.
Okay, okay.
And I'm doing that right now, and I wonder if there's an answer or a statement.
Semchen shempa semchen shempa yu me sayandi tesum chik sana sagore sto labior wata di kola shempa chik sungyor be sangi ki
Semchen shempa yoyo mare yena yang yoyo mare yo shobjache semchen shempa de yo de yos naso namkin tartu kirwa chasamba semchen malin ta attention tes yena yang naso khatu chi to ona ko semchen yimante yang aso de ase 소설 리그 또 나오는 연다 코랑군의 야지 세명간지 연띵 아주 다 맞춰 봐라고 그래서 가서 밀라에 때려와.
Khenpo is saying again what he was saying before is that we should not doubt that there are other sentient beings. That's for sure. It's just when we are standing right in front of somebody, can we really be sure that there is a mind in that person? That he was thinking that that's a question we could have.
따와라 던지 삼는도 내가 던지 그렇게 요스로. 가까라 가나 가는 가지고 이나 만나서 봐도 던지 그렇게 요스. 가지고 이나 만나서 태섬도 사야라고 지서도 나랑 가까 던지 그렇게 요스데. 걔랑한테 인사를 했어.
Khenpo says he himself sometimes thinks about that, and perhaps you're also someone who likes to think about that.
Thank you first of all for your precious teachings. I think my answer was just answered before, but I'm not really sure about that. And my question is how it is possible for a Buddha whose view is purified of all imprints, how is he possible to see still suffering of people? So is it because of his experiences he made? So does he take this experience with him? Or how, if his imprints are purified totally, how is he still able to have imprints in his mind? Thank you.
Sange kurang sange sarwa dindri indu nyelwa yida dindu tadi so sama kurang ki thongda thonggere kyaran ki sungsuma tangi chik. Yore konsola di nangwa
konsola 던지 지나도 공야랜도.
어디 카르 탄데스 낭 투피레 코 마지나 박 kurang 박바 차차로와 박차 제차로와 박차 제소나
대삼도 단단 약본도. 대변은 데리래. 배나 네바지 먹듯이 새로 차다요나. 나바디 마비살래요 그래. 만바디 때다나 코파셔도 차선 새로 통도 그래. 콜라 새로 지금 나온다 요사래. 지금 만바디 하고 그래. 얘나 만바 코로나 새로 통고요 말. 대 나와서 산지 가솔라 던지신 나온다 사래 공.
It is a little bit like if you take someone who's ill with jaundice, which makes you see, or hepatitis, and it makes you see everything yellow, and then you go to the doctor. The doctor can imagine and understand what you are feeling and what you are experiencing. It's not that he's sick, but he can very well understand what's going on. In that same way, the Buddha can.
Thank you, Khenpo, for your teachings. I have a question that refers to the first verse that we just talked about. And the last two shlokas say that nothing ever arises from a cause. And a bit earlier you explained, at the beginning of the lecture, you gave that example of going to sleep, dreaming I'm going to meet someone tomorrow, and then I meet him tomorrow. And then you said, all appearances arise from imprints. So aren't imprints the cause of all phenomena? And also Kamapa said yesterday, when I asked him what accumulates karma, he said it's this habitual tendency that is there, or at least that's what I took away from his answer. So is this habitual tendency and aren't imprints the cause for the arising of phenomena? That's my question.
Chö keji ki gyu chagi yo marabes tanda pakpaludru ki gyu kaksomas chö mugiri laure chö kangyang gyu le kyone kiewa mares kaktuas inende zu gyu marabes komshi pakcha le deso natsu nangwa deso gyu chagi mendues
te dikavla nawa tachabi jodan de kakayore marto 나와 세지 용거요바 결때는 나와 세지 용거요바 때 까해요말
나와 용거요
까타야요말 나가요로 가서 나도 그도
나와 까게요말
나도 그도
First of all, Nāgārjuna here is not saying that there are no appearances. This is something he's not negating, because we are experiencing this. There are these appearances that we do experience. What he's saying is that there are no cause or result. How do I say that?
Zama chik na yuwa te ka thab ka yuwa mare. Ina tiso ngoni tong ubu tanga dimba chik yinba te ka ro yore se diro.
So he's refuting that there's a really existent cause and a really existent result. He's not saying that appearances do not exist. He just says there is no truly existing cause or truly existing result arising from that cause. He's not saying that there are no appearances. Appearances are there, they are deluded, and yeah. Yeah, so maybe then we,
Does
after
that
that we
mean
close.
that when he says that the cause itself is also underlying dependent arising?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Next. Chik left song.
Okay, one last question.
Ashidalek Khenpo, thank you for your teachings. I have simple question. Can you please tell me precise difference between contemplation and meditation? Thank you.
Tanda samlutaya tangomge nila tanga samlutaya shigro gomge shigro samgom shigro samgom ni ke kebar karare.
Samlutaya ti la gom lap chokore. Ina ti shiapi goni gom se ta njokpi goni gom se ni ro. Teni chik semtse chik niga ja tendo ten njokpi goni gom se njok gom se.
Karasa?
Pena like kondo in chik rang herndu ga chin gom ja ga chigoro. Shung. Teni samlo mongo ta ni gom ja ga chigoro. Tanda nga su pena og njong up teso gom di samlo tangro. Tendo wo tele shia gom se shiapi goni gom se niga yongore.
Ale uktaya la samlos ugla tamlo.
Te koche ni sen samlo tangro. Tendo wo shia gom se.
Reflection or contemplation can also be called meditation. Normally, meditation can be of two types, The first one is the reflective or analytical meditation that involves some thought process. For example, I focus on the breath and I count the breath, so I have a mental activity of counting. And then there is the so-called, the settled meditation. And that is like when we practice one focused attention on, a statue or a visualized Buddha form or things like that. Okay. Khenpo says, now we go.